Hello and welcome to the 5th episode of the Knitting Teaspoon podcast, a podcast which is all about knitting, sewing, handcrafting, well, whatever. I am Lisbeth. Thank you so much for joining me. It really means a lot to me that you come to take some time out of your day to spend it to share about, what I've been up to crafting wise. I will start with a tiny warning right up front of this episode. I have toothache, so if I come across a little bit grumpy this week, it is because my wisdom teeth on my left side are both coming through right now, and they are causing some problems. They're pushing up on other molars, and it hurts so much that I've been barely able to sleep this week. I am on strong painkillers now, but things like smiling or talking a lot can cause some pain. And I think my painkillers are about to run out in a few minutes, maybe an hour or so, I don't know. But if I come across a bit more grumpy, it's not because I stopped liking knitting or whatever, it's because of pain. And I think next week I will have to skip an episode due to this because these molars are so poorly positioned that they will have to be removed next week, and this will be on a Friday, and this will mess up my entire podcasting schedule. So I'm not sure if I will be able to podcast next week, but maybe I feel up to it. Maybe on Thursday, maybe some other time. I don't know. We will see. But if there's no episode, then you know right now why there won't be one. So you may have hoped that I would start off somewhat more cheery this week because it has been my birthday and I've had a lovely birthday. It was wonderful. I had a good time with family and friends, so it was amazing. Let's start with the regular schedule. It makes things easier for me to just start talking in the usual order. So I will start with what I am wearing, and that is a Rosa shirt. It is a pattern. This is a pattern by Teal and the Buttons. You've heard me talk about her before, and it's because I absolutely love her patterns. I simply adore them. They are so easy to follow. The only things and times that I mess things up is when I decide to not follow the pattern and do something else entirely, and then things start to get downhill very quickly. But it's all in the patterns, and it's and they are very good patterns. As you can see, these, maybe you won't be able to see so clearly. I don't know actually. So I have slightly readjusted the position of my camera. I'm slightly closer to the camera now. I'm not really sure how much you can notice of it, but I can notice it. And I would like to show off some bit of the fabric, but it is hard because, there's not really much sleeves going on here, like not in the part that's easy to show you guys. So I will move a little bit, and you can see these are all tiny whales, and you've heard me talk about it before. I love whales, apparently. I didn't notice myself either, but I love them. This week I actually had another opportunity to work a little bit more with this whale fabric. I think it's from Poppy Designs. It's 100% cotton, and I love the shirt. I think it's the second shirt I've made. I've made one with a tiny fish before. Again, sea creatures. Wow. But I've seen opportunity to use it again because this week I have been sewing a bit in between of the pain, and there has been some brain space to sew something, and it is another pattern by Teal and the Buttons, and it is a skirt. It is the Delphine skirt. It is one of the patterns that comes with the book Love at First Stitch, which I can absolutely recommend if you have never sewn before, or if you are a beginner and you are not quite sure what you're doing. This book greatly helps to improve your sewing skill, and it comes with, I think, 6 amazing patterns, only one of which I've made so far, but I'm planning on making 2 more out of the book. I think there's a Lilo dress, and there's a Mimi blouse that I'd also like to make at some point in the future. But this is a Delphine skirt. I purchased this fabric last Sunday on my birthday. Actually, there was this fabric fair in Eindhoven, which is the city where I live, and yeah, I went there and I found this piece of fabric. And you might think that I've only made one skirt. I am actually wearing an identical skirt out of the same piece of fabric, with the only exception that this one, well, this one doesn't have pockets, but the one that I'm wearing has pockets, and they are lined with, again, this whale fabric. I like to keep tiny scraps of my fabric so that I can use them for details on other projects. Although with 2 skirts out of 1.5 meter of jeans fabric, well, there were so tiny pieces left over that, well, there was no way that I was going to keep more scraps out of it. And jeans is not that special. I mean, I don't think it's very suitable for pocket details on many other fabrics because it's also quite sturdy. You would need some special kind of fabric to work on that, I guess. I don't know. Also, if I would have wanted to put pockets on this skirt, it would not have fit out of the fabric, because one side of the pocket, like the back side, which you might be able to see more easily, I think, when you're wearing it, it is out of jeans fabric, and then there's the other side of the pocket, which is out of the cotton fabric. Like it's thinner, and it's okay for pockets, I guess. So two finished Delphine skirts. This is the back side. I'm not really sure what I did with the zipper here. It's supposed to be invisible. It's not really invisible, but good enough for me. So it will work, and I love it. I love the fact that I can now switch around a bit more in my sewn, well, bottom halves, I guess. I've sewn one Delphine skirt before, so I have 3 skirts now, and I've sewn 2 pairs of jeans that I really like, and I've also made 1 pair of, yeah, they were supposed to be jeans, but I don't think I will ever wear them outside of my house. They were my first real sewing projects, and no, they don't really look that good. So, well, that's it for the sewing I have done this week. But there has been more sewing stash enhancements because, of course, I went to this fair and I bought some fabric there. And one of the fabrics that I bought, I have washed these fabrics, but I have not ironed them yet, so they may be a bit wrinkly and they are a bit big to show you. But one of my new fabrics is this one with the little seals on it, and I think this will be perfect to make me 1 or 2 more, maybe Agnes tops. I think 1 long sleeve Agnes top, and then some other shirts. I do have this other short sleeve shirt now that I would like to make some more of, and I have the one that I've shown you with the sheep before. I think that would also be a great t-shirt to have some more of. So that was the additional jersey fabric that I bought. Then I've also bought, I think this is linen, and it has all these cute little mice on it. I think this is a directional print, but I'm not really sure. No, it does not seem to be, because whichever way I'm holding it up, there seem to be mice on upside down and mice that are not upside down. So yeah, I think you have had a look at it, and I am planning to make a dress out of this. I've bought the Françoise dress pattern, well, at the same time that I bought the book from Tilly and the Buttons and my Agnes pattern and the Rosa shirt pattern. And I'm planning on making one out of this fabric, and I think I've bought enough to also make me a skirt out of this fabric, which will again be a Delphine skirt, because you can never have too many skirts, can you? I don't think so. No, I don't think that exists. And then there's one more fabricy purchase. The last piece of fabric that I got at the fabric fair is this wool fabric, and it really feels amazingly soft, and it's mostly dark blue with black, well, diagonal stripes, and there's well, a more reddish or maybe orange rusty kind of lines going through it, and I love this fabric. It feels so soft. I love wool. Did you know? I'm planning on making a suit out of this for myself, like a female version of a suit. I don't know what it is called. In Dutch we say mantelpak, but I'm not really sure, but it's basically a jacket and a skirt. And I've also bought some black lining fabric, but it's still tangled in my drying rack, and I don't want to untangle it. But it's basically a linen silky lining fabric that I would like to use, just, well, to go in the invisible parts of the garment, so you will probably see it when I get around to actually making something with it. So now I noticed that I have gone slightly off the chronological order of what I've been doing this week, because last week I well, first of all, after the episode I went to university and I recast on the sock that I'm knitting for my boyfriend, and it is on the needles again, and now it seems to be turning out the right size, and I wish I could show you, but it is at university and I've been having such headaches this week that I have not gotten myself to go there this week. I've stayed at home to take as much rest as I could, and also just to try and relax and get some sleep. But there's not much to show you. It's not much more than a toe. But after I got home, my brother and sister, they came over to have dinner with me, partially to celebrate my birthday, also to celebrate my younger brother has a girlfriend, and her birthday is one day before mine, so we thought it would be nice to get together and celebrate both of our birthdays that way. And while they were here, I decided to pick up my spinning wheel and I started spinning. And you can see, like, behind me there were 4 of these braids, and one braid is now no longer a braid. I must admit, they were not braided in a nice way. Like braids of fiber, they come in 2 kind of ways, and in one type you have to like entangle the entire braid to be able to work on it, and the other seems to be like hand crocheted, and then you can just pull out one more loop when you get to that point. And I really like the other way, like the crochet type braid, a lot better for actually working with it. But I love how this is turning out. But I was trying to show you that I've worked with this braid of fiber that I bought from Spinspul, which is a shop in the Netherlands, and they were at the Knit and Knot fair in September, and I have so far spun this much, and I think it's about half a braid I spin on my spinning wheel, and I don't know what type it is because I got it from my grandma, and all I know about my spinning wheel is that it's old. My grandma used to spin with it, and yeah, I really like how this is turning out so far. I am planning on making a 2-ply out of this. I think I've been spinning now with the Blue Face Leicester, but 2 of the 4 braids that I have here, they are Blue Face Leicester, and the other 2 are a merino fiber. So I will 2-ply it to make it a 50-50 blend, and I hope that is going to turn out okay. and maybe I can get enough yardage to make a top, or maybe even a long sleeve kind of something out of it. I don't know, we will see. I'm not a very good spinner. I'm basically just starting actually, and I like it, although it takes a lot of time. And I think I like knitting more than I do like spinning, so it's easier to just buy yarn and work with that. But it also is amazing to wear something that is not only hand knit by you but also hand spun by you. That just so much more made by me feel, I guess. And I like that feeling, like I made something myself, like entirely made it myself. So that has been my spinning for this week. And then there's another sock that has been going on and off this podcast for quite some time, and it is my Valdres Neestrumper. Now, you might think that I've again not made a lot of progress this week, and it seems so because the sock does not seem to be much bigger than last time. But I can tell you, when my mom came over last Saturday, I showed my sock to her, and I realized, no, this is never going to work. It's way too tight. So I ripped out the entire sock and started over again. I have now used another cast on. I've used, I think it's only 4 more stitches in the circumference, but I've fit the sock when I was like about to start the increases for the heel here, and it fits so much better. I mean, it just fit instead of it being way too tight, but maybe I could just pull it over. Now it just fits me, and I have not tried whether I can fit over this heel, and I'm not really happy with how my regular heel turned out, because I was doing it in color work this time and things got a bit messy there. I usually don't knit one side and then purl the other side. I usually mirror knit, so I never turn around, but this was messing up like the yarn dominance. Like it's not that my stitches are that much different in size. It's when you look at my knitting here, you can see that all the white stitches are slightly higher than the black stitches, and that's because of the way I hold my yarn. And if I switch this around by mirror knitting, the white stitches would be slightly lower, and what you would get was kind of a wave of white and kind of, well, not very tidy stripe of black on top of that, and another stripe of white in the heel where I go back and forth. So I had to do a 200 color work and purling, big fun time. But I've made it through the heel. I've started working on the leg now, and I really like it. I'm not really sure, maybe I want to buy another skein of the white and see if I can make them slightly longer socks. That would be a lot of fun. I have one pair of high socks and I really like to wear those. They're slightly over knee high, and it's just amazing. It keeps your legs so warm in the winter, although last week it was still freezing and it even snowed on the Friday that I podcasted. This week it's like spring has begun. I can hear the birds singing all the time, and it is so lovely that it's not that freezing cold again or anymore. Yeah, I like it. Then there has again been a very teeny tiny bit of progress on another project that you already know, and it is my blanket. I have finished this square. I was already on the purple section last week when I showed you, and it is finished now. And after that I did not do anything on my blanket anymore. Part of the reason is that I also didn't go to knitting group this week because I just felt too poorly to be able to go. Then there is another project that I'm working on, but it is kind of a secret. This time I'm working on a test knit again, and it is for a friend of my knitting group, and she's called Sandra, or Wollmuschi on Ravelry, and she has made another design, and it is for a top. I think I can share that much with you, because I'm not sharing any details about the pattern yet. And I am working it up in this yarn. It's called Laguna, and unfortunately I think this yarn is being discontinued at the moment, so you may be able to find it in a lot of shops and even with a lot of discount at the moment, but it will not well, it will not exist for much longer, or will not be produced anymore. It doesn't, maybe it does not look very special like on the ball, but it is like it is a piece of, I don't know, how would you call it, lint or something? I don't know. I think it's a knit something, and it is part silk blend, and what's the other content? I think it's viscose and silk, and it's really soft, and it gives a nice effect. You can, even though it's quite thin, or well, it's thin and thick at the same time, because it's really flat. It's not round yarn like you may be used to from your typical wool yarn. It is another structure, I guess. And I'm knitting a top out of this, and because of my headache, I've been re-knitting a big part of it. It has nothing to do with her pattern being poorly written. So I'm a test knitter, so if there's mistakes, that's what I'm for, I guess. But I just didn't have brain space, so I cast on 30 additional stitches, and I knit an entire skein of this yarn, and then I figured out, oh, this is never going to be enough yarn. Why do I have so little yarn if I have to knit like until a certain length? And then it turned out that I had way too many stitches on my needles, and I just ripped it out and started over again. Big fun time, yay! My brain space lately, apparently I am all about ripping out and starting again, I guess. But at least the second time things are working out a lot better. And then for my birthday I decided to treat myself to two skeins of hand-dyed yarn, and they are both by Lily Pond Yarns, and I just dropped the label. So I just got back from the ground and I picked up this label, and it is Lily Pond Yarns. It's a hand dyer in Devon, England, and they well, I saw this yarn on Instagram, and it is I think it's inspired by lilies or something, and I think it was also with Mother's Day something, a special treat for Mother's Day or something like that. That's why they were sharing this post, I think. But Mother's Day in the Netherlands is in the beginning of May. I think in the UK it is probably somewhere around the beginning of March, but for us it makes no sense to buy yarn for Mother's Day at this time, because it's still 2 months away, although sometimes international shipping can take a while, so maybe it does make sense after all, but not as much as it does for people from the UK, I guess. But I just had to have this, and it did not come as a ball. I wound it up right away, because I wanted to cast on right away, but then I was kind of doubting whether this was the perfect project already, like vanilla stalks, or did I want to do something more special. And of course I could always need a toe, but I knew I wanted socks out of this yarn, because I don't think this is a color that I would wear anywhere else on my body that easily. Not that it's not perfectly lovely colors, but I think for the rest of my body it's just not that much me. And this is not the only skein that they sent me. They also sent me this lovely teal skein, and I think it's called something like Teal Tussle, but it might also be their other teal colorway because they had two. It's well, this is lovely sea green teal, slightly on the green side of teal, I think, skein. And also this one, I can't wait to just get knitting with it. And they sent me a stitch marker too, and it is this gorgeous teeny tiny teapot, and I thought it was so amazing. I'm not sure if they knew, but I was sending a birthday present to myself because I thought, well, actually, I was like, can I buy this? I really want to have this, and but do I really need it? No, of course you don't need more yarn, but then again, yes, of course you do need more yarn. At the same time, you know how it goes, I guess, if you're a knitter yourself. So I decided, well, it's almost my birthday, and if I order it now, it will be at my place at around my birthday. So it arrived on the Friday that I last podcasted, and then my birthday was on Sunday, so I kept it closed until my birthday, and then I opened it, and I was really happy with the card that I sent to myself and the skeins of yarn. And they included this teapot, so I don't know if they knew that I like tea, but I signed the card to myself as teaspoon, so maybe they did get the hint. So it says in a very tiny handwriting, it says that it's tea time on this teapot. I really don't know if you can see it or if it's in focus, but we will see. Anyway, they did write on the note I have here that stitch marker is from Andmarkthatstitch on Etsy. So if you're interested in buying your own teapots and stitch markers, it is available. I think I will put it on my socks when I'm casting on the lily pond yarn, like the yellow and green yarn. Oh, and then there's one more thing about lily pond yarns that I really wanted to share with you, and I realized I forgot to mention this before. They had an amazing service. I ordered their skeins of yarn on Etsy, and I was charged twice the shipping cost because I was purchasing 2 skeins, and it did not really make a lot of sense to me. Like, put in your card 1 skein and you get 1 shipping cost. International shipping cost is not that cheap, although I don't think it was very expensive because is England still part of the EU, or I don't know when they are no longer a part with the entire Brexit thing, but still it's quite close in international terms at least. But then I put in a second skein in my cart, and they apparently Etsy charged me double shipping cost, and this did not make that much sense. I mean, I can understand that at some point your package will become so heavy that shipping cost will be higher. Like, maybe if you order 1 skein, it can fit in an envelope, and if you order like 20 or something, they have to send out a box, and it will be more shipping costs. Of course, I understand that, but apparently this was a mistake made by Etsy, and the people from this lily pond yarn shop, they were so friendly. They immediately sent out a response that I was overcharged and they wanted to refund the extra cost that I made. And I think it's really good that some shops are so onto this. I mean, I think a lot of shops would not even have noticed that I was overcharged for this, or if I was overcharged, they wouldn't have done anything with it, but they were really friendly, and I really liked it. So thumbs up for Lily Pond Yarns. I really appreciated that. So I guess that's it for today. I have nothing more to show you this week, but thank you so much for joining me. It is it really means a lot to me that you take some time to watch my podcast, and I'm hoping that I can improve on the quality. And if you have any feedback from me, then just please let me know. You can leave a comment on YouTube, or you can send me an email. I will put up my contact details well, probably here on the screen, you know how it goes. Um, but it really means a lot to me that you are watching. So thank you so much for joining me, and I hope to see you soon. And again, a reminder, I don't know if that will be next week. So I was about to round up, but then my camera stopped recording. It does this every 15 minutes, so apparently I'm over half an hour now. But I was just saying, I don't know if I will be able to podcast again next week, because I will have my wisdom tooth surgically removed next week, and well, I don't know in what kind of pain I will be. So I hope to see you soon. Certainly in 2 weeks, and maybe I will be able to get out another podcast episode next week, but we will see how that goes. So thank you so much for joining me, and have a lovely week. Happy knitting, and